श्री कृष्ण श्री कृष्ण श्री कृष्ण। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। We will be studying this Patanjali Yoga Darshan. First we will read the sutra and then like Bhagavad Gita we have got Shankara Bhashya. In the same manner here we will have the Vyasa Bhashya. And then on the basis of this Vyasa Bhashya we will try to understand what is the meaning of every sutra and how every sutra leads to the next one. Because sutras are those which are cryptic statements full of meaning, and out of one sutra the next sutra is born. So we will start with the first chapter called as Samadhi Padaha Pratamaha. Atha Yoganuशासनम्. अथ इति अयम अधिकारार्थः. Now the technique of explanation given by any commentator is, because sutras have got very few words, so every word has to be clearly understood. Otherwise the meaning of the sutra will not come out. So in this first sutra, Atha Yoga Anushasanam, there are three words. First is Atha, second is Yoga, and third is Anushasanam. So Atha Yoga Anushasanam. So what is the meaning of the word Atha? So Atha iti ayam adhikararthaha. Now this word Atha is indicating the Adhikara. Adhikara is that authority. So Atha Yoganuशासनम. This is the authority about the science of yoga. This is the meaning. Now this Atha word is also used many places. Like about this Atha, there is a very popular and the most famous verse which says Omkaraschath Shabdascha Dvaveto Brahmanaha Puram Kantham Bhitva Vinirjatau Tasmad Mangaliko Bubhau. Brahmaji, when he said the first word, so these two words came from his mouth, Atha and Omkar. So Om, Atha, these two words came. And because these are the two words which came from the mouth of Brahmaji, therefore both of them are the first words, and therefore Mangalikam. Mangalika means auspicious. Because it is a tradition that whenever we begin anything in our life, and particularly study or writing of a book, then we have to begin with an auspicious beginning. And what is the auspicious beginning? Remembrance of the Lord. So both these words, Omkara, Om and Atha, they are the most auspicious words. Because Kantham Bhitva, through the throat of Brahmali, these are the two words which came out first. Tasmat Mangalikau Ubhau. Therefore both of them are most auspicious. Now here this meaning of the word Atha is not taken to be auspicious. This is what it is said here. अधिकार शब्दो योगारूढ़तया आरंभणम एवं मुख्य इति, because here the adhikara, authority, that is more important, and therefore this is used as a meaning by all the commentators that the word atha is indicating that now we are starting this authority. Now because this word atha is also associated with the auspiciousness, so even if that meaning is not meant, it happens. Now a very beautiful simile or example is given. There is a tradition. What is the tradition? That when somebody is received, you must have seen the Mahatmas are received with the Purna Kumbha. So when you go to somebody's house, they will fill in the water in a pot and bring it in front of you, and then the chant the mantra Om na Karmanana Prajaya Dhanena. Now that kalasha with the water is considered as the most auspicious one to receive somebody. Now if you are going somewhere and there happened to be a situation where some ladies were carrying the water pots on their head, then that is considered as, oh, it's very good omen. In the same manner, this word atha, although used with the meaning of adhikar, authority, and yet this will have the second aspect also without any special effort. So atha adhikarartha ayam shabdaha. Now further, yoganushasanam shastram adhikrutam veditavyam. Now what is the meaning of yoganushasanam? Yoganushasanam means yoga shastra. Adhikruta has started. So now from this sutra onward, this yoganushasanam begins. Now what is the meaning of the yoganushasanam? Yogasya anushasanam iti yoganushasanam. So anushasanam is what? Anushasanam means the discipline or the shastra. The shastra tells the discipline. Therefore, anushasanam shastram. Why? Because by this discipline is inculcated. Because by yoga shastra we discipline ourselves. By the government rules and regulations we try to discipline others. But yoga shastra is meant for disciplining ourselves, and therefore this is called as anushasanam, and together this is called as the yoga anushasanam. So this shastra, so anushasanam, because this is the authority, now follow that. You have no choice. So this shastra is explained as anushasanam iti shastra mahanushishyate anena iti vitpatya, that by which we are able to instruct and grow in self-discipline is called as the anushasanam and the shastra. Pravrittirva nivrittiva nityena kritagena va pumsam yenopadishyeta tat shastram abhidhiyate. That by which pravritti and nivritti, what should be done, what should not be done, is determined. That is called as the shastra. So the do's and don'ts are given in the scriptures. And when the do's and don'ts are given, there is no argument, there is no appeal over it. For example, you are supposed to drive the car on the left side of the road in India. Why? In America we drive on the right side, then go to America, don't stay in India. Because anushasanam. So pravrittirva nivritva nityena kritakena cha. What is the nitya karma, what is the karma? About that what indicates is called as the shastra. Therefore, shabdanushasanam nama shastra adhikrutam veditavyam. That is why this anushasanam, yoganushasanam is called as the shastram and veditavyam. Bhagwan Veda Vyasi writes yoganushasanam shastram adhikrutam veditavyam. So this authority of the self-discipline is veditavyam, worthy of knowing. And therefore, this yoga anushasanam or the Patanjali Yoga Darshan has begun. Now what is the meaning of yoga? Yogaha samadhi. Now here the word yoga is indicated. So, another thing regarding the shasanam is also worth knowing in this context, that this anushasanam is what? Anushasanam means shishtasya shasanam iti anushasanam. Whatever is told, taught to us, the same thing we propagate in the next generation is called as anushasanam. Shasanam, we are disciplined, we are taught something by the acharya. Now the same thing we teach to our disciples, that is called as anushasanam. And therefore, when Patanjali Maharshi writes Shastra, this Yoganushasanam, he clearly means that I am not the originator of these sutras. That means the Shastra was already existing. And therefore, it is said, Hiranya Garbho Yogasya Vakta Nanyaha Puratanaha. That is why Hiranya Garbha or the Kapila Muni, we have seen in the introduction, he is the original Vakta, the giver of this Yoga Shastra, and this Yoga Shastra is again represented to us by this Patanjali Maharshi, and therefore it is called as Shishtasya Shasanam, Anushasanam. Now this word yoga, we have seen this also, is born out of the yuja samadhav, this dhatu, by application of the ghaya pratyay. And by this, yoga, what is samadhi means what? Samadhi means chitta vritti nirodha rupa samadhi. Therefore, this yoga samadha, yuja samadhav, in this manner, this yoga has to be understood in this context. There are other meanings also. We are not interested in that. Now, this word samadhi, yuja samadhav, this is used to indicate that this samadhi is possible for all the chitta bhumikas. Means what? We can do the chitta vritti nirodh in all the bhumikas of the mind. We have seen this. There are the 5 chitta bhumikas: Vikshipta, Mudha, Vikshipta and Ekagra and the Niruddha. So in all the 5 conditions of the chitta, we can attain samadhi. But and therefore the samadhi is called as sarvabhauma dharma. Sarvabhauma means belonging to all the bhumikas. Bhumi becomes bhauma. So sarvabhauma dharma. So there are 5 bhumikas of the chitta, and therefore this is called as sarvabhauma. But when we talk about the yoga, so yoga is not the sarvabhauma dharma only when the chitta is in the ekagra or the niruddha bhumika, then alone that samadhi is called as the yoga. And therefore every samadhi cannot be called as yoga. But yoga is only possible when you have attained the samadhi in ekagra or the niruddha chitta. And therefore here the word atha yoga anushasanam, yoga should be understood that we are talking about these last 2 stages. Samadhi of the mind or the chitta in the ekagra bhumika, and samadhi of the chitta in the niruddha bhumika. So yogaha atha yoganushasanam. So our attention or the goal is these 2 bhumikas. Therefore yogasya anushasanam iti yoganushasanam shastram adhikrutam arabdham veditavyam, it should be known by the seekers of the truth. Now this samadhi yoga, which is again sarvabhauma, we have seen yogaha samadhi, such a sarvabhauma chittasya dharmaha. See in the original one, on the first page itself, such a samadhi. See, samadhi is a masculine noun. Normally we imagine samadhi is a feminine noun, but no, samadhi is a masculine. Therefore sahacha. So sahacha sarvabhauma chittasya dharmaha. So the chitta can enter in samadhi in any of the 5. And which are the conditions of the bhumis of the chitta? Kshiptam, mudham, vikshiptam, ekagram, niruddham iti chitta bhumayaha. So this is how Bhagavan Veda Vyasa has given us, that these are the different bhumis of the chitta. Bhumi means the condition, the state. The first is the kshiptam. Now what is the kshiptam chittam? Rajasa vishayeshu vrittimat. Kshiptam. That mind or the chitta which is under the influence of the rajoguna, and therefore there are thoughts formed in the mind. So the chitta or the mind with the thoughts born out of the influence of the rajoguna is called as the kshipta bhumika. Then second is the mudham. So tamasa nidradi vrittimat. When the same chitta is under the influence of the tamoguna, then it is dull-witted and sleep. Okay, we'll finish this. This kind of condition has come, then you understand you are in the mudha bhumika. The mind or the chitta has become dull-witted. Then vikshiptam. Vikshiptam means kshiptat vishishtam vikshiptam. It is other than the kshipta. What is that? Sattvadhikkena samadadavapi chittam rajo matraya antara antara vishayantara vrittimat. Although in the vikshipta bhumika the mind is predominantly sattvic, but now and then the rajoguna overpowers and the mind runs here and there, and we say, hey, nonsense, stop it now, again I want to sit for meditation, and again we sit quiet, and it goes for some time very beautifully, and suddenly the mind runs here and there. So this condition of the chitta is called as the vikshipta chitta. Therefore, this vikshipta is superior than the earlier two, mudha and the kshipta. Kshipta chitta is constantly running in the objects here and there, not 1 second it keeps quiet. But the vikshipta chitta is predominantly sattvic, and therefore you must have experienced this. Sometime when you get up in the morning, your mind is absolutely calm and peaceful. And then without any special effort, you are able to sit for dhyana, and you sit for quite some time. And then suddenly, for no reason, the mind starts throwing the thoughts. So, again after some time you realize this is becoming too much, so we again say, no, not now, later. And again the mind quietens. Again you enter a very peaceful, undisturbed state of the mind. This kind of intermittent disturbances in the chitta vritti nirodha is called as the vikshipta chitta. So, and the fourth is ekagra. Now what is the ekagra chitta? Ekasminneva vishaye agram shikha yasya chitta deepasya iti ekagram vishuddha sattva taya ekasmin eva vishaye vakshmana avadhikrita kala paryantam achanchalam nivata sthita deepavat tatha cha kshiptaditrayepi kinchid ekagrasatvepi tatra nati prasangaha. Now ekagra chitta means what? Ekasmin vishaye agram shikha yasya. This chitta is able to be engaged in one theme, and viruddha sattvataya ekasmineva vishaye, and rejecting all other thoughts or the theme only in the one topic or one theme, vakshamana avadhikrita kala paryantam. Whatever is decided that you have to sit for half an hour, 1 hour, so for that 1 hour the mind will be applicable to the given job without any disturbance and achanchalam, and it is absolutely undisturbed, only one theme. And therefore nivata sthita deepavat. Just like the lamp is kept in the corner, like we have seen in Bhagavad Gita, yogino, what is that? Nivata sthita deepavat. Sopama smrita. In the 6th chapter, Bhagavan says, the chitta of the yogi is like that of the lamp kept in the corner. This ekagra bhumika. Now, this ekagra bhumika is the one which is to be attained first, then we can lead to the yoga subsequently. Therefore, this is the ekagra bhumika. And therefore, this is the fourth stage, which is extremely essential. Tatha क्षिप्तादि त्रयेपि किंचित ऐकाग्रे सत्वेपि तत्र नाति प्रसंगः. And the earlier three. So earlier three will no more be able to create problems once you have entered this ekagra chitta. So now the normal common people's problem is what? The mind runs here and there. Or the second problem is in the lecture itself many people sleep. Sometimes I feel, this is not their fault. Some elderly people, there used to be one Amma, now she is a Swamini. When I was in Bombay, that times, not Bombay, Delhi. So she used to come and sit in the class in the front and straight away start snoring away. And very elderly and very respectable. And others used to look at her and look at me. But I don't get disturbed. How does it matter? At least she is sincerely sleeping. And one day somebody told her, Amma, you should sit in the back side so that you can sleep comfortably. No, I don't sleep. I am in meditation. What Swami is talking, I understand everything. But I go in meditation. So this is called the Mudha Bhumika. And the third Vikshiptam, it goes here and there, now and then, now and then. So unless we enter the Ekagra Bhumika, we have not yet really put forward efforts. So if we are sincere seekers of truth, we must not complain about the first three. So we have to attain Ekagrata. Nobody can do it for us. And for attaining that Ekagrata are the various techniques told, such as take the mala in the hand and start chanting the name of the Lord. Very slowly. But there also we become mechanical. Therefore, Ekagrata goes away. So when you start slowly, no hurry-burry. Suppose you start, let us take Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Chant loudly with the mala in the hand. And see that the same name is repeated for a long period of time. This training is for getting the chitta in the Ekagra Bhumika. Because unless we come in the Ekagra Bhumika, there will not be a possibility of yoga. There may be samadhi, but not yoga. So, the last Bhumika is the Niruddham Chitta. Now, what is the Niruddham Chitta? Niruddham cha niruddha sakala vrittikam samskara matra shesham ityarthaha. When in this niruddha sthiti condition, not only the rajasic and the tamasic conditions are gunas are subsided, which are creating the earlier three. Now see the whole five of them. Get an overall picture. Kshipta, effect of Rajoguna. Mudha, effect of Tamoguna. Vikshipta, Sattva Guna disturbed by the Rajoguna. Ekagra, only Sattva Guna. And Niruddha, even Sattva Guna, Vritti also gone. These are the 5 stages. So, when the Chitta is free from the Rajas, Tamas and also the Sattvic Vritti, there is not even Sattvic Vritti, then there are only Samskara Matra. Therefore, Samskara Matra Shesham Ityartaha. So, in that condition, the Chitta has become Niruddha. And these Samskaras are burnt when the yogi is exposing himself in this Asampradnyat Yoga for a long period of time. Then the Samskaras also Dagdha Bijavat. They are also burned and then they disappear. Tatra Vikshipte Chetasi Vikshepo Sarjana Bhumi Sarjani Bhutaha Samadhi Na Yoga Pakshe Vartate. Therefore, in these earlier 3 conditions, Kshiptam, Mudha, Vikshiptam, here this Samadhi Yoga Pakshe na Vartate. This cannot be accepted as the Yoga. because vikshipta chitta is having the impact of rajoguna now and then, and therefore it cannot be. Therefore, there are these two types of samadhis. So, tatra vikshipte chetasi vikshepa uparsajani bhutaha samadhina yoga pakshe vartate. यस्त्व एकाग्रे चेतसी सद्भूतमर्थ प्रत्योदयति क्षिणोति च क्लेशान् कर्मबन्धनानि श्लथयति निरोधम अभिमुखम करोति स संप्रज्ञातो योगः इत्याख्यायते. नाउ यहाँ तू एकाग्रे चेतसी, he who is established in the ekagra chetas, then sadbhuta artha pratyodayati, and therefore one is able to very clearly have the viveka khyati, the ability to separate the the Purusha from the Prakriti, and therefore in this condition the Viveka Khyati becomes very clear, and as a result of which then what happens in addition to Kshinoti Kleshan, this Pancha Klesha, Avidya, Asmita, Ragadvesha and Abhinivesha, these Pancha Kleshas are weakened away, Karma Bandhanani Shlatayati, the bondage of the karma, that is also reduced, and Nirodha Abhimukham Karoti, and then this Chitta ultimately enters in the Nirodhi Avastha, Niruddha Chittam, Abhimukham Karoti, and thereafter Sa Samprajñato Yogaha Ityakhyayate. When this condition happens, then this is called as the Samprajñata Yoga. This is how this Samprajñata Yoga is, in short, the purifier of the samskar by constant exposure in this condition, the chitta. Now what exactly happens is like this. See, whenever any instrument is not used for a long period of time, that instrument loses its functional ability. Like, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi kept mouth shut for 18 years. So it was virtually impossible for him to talk properly because no practice. And his keeping quiet was at the level of the mind, not only by mouth. Those who only keep the mouth shut, don't talk, and they get one opportunity, then they start firing. That is not the way. Or another example, if you stop writing by hand, like I see when you people are writing, you are writing so fast, my hand has lost that power of writing now. Because so many years now I either dictate somebody or on the computer. As a result, the writing speed has almost disappeared. Even if you start with all enthusiasm, one line, two lines come all right. Thereafter only lines, straight lines come cut like that. Because that ability dies when you don't use. The same thing happens. For the chitta, when you expose in the samadhi, when the chitta has attained the ekagra bhumika. When this has happened, what is the habit of the chitta? To throw the thoughts. Now when the chitta is ekagra, it stops throwing the thoughts, gets accustomed to be in one thought or one theme for a long period of time. As a result, all the other habits are taken care of. And therefore, in the Samprajñat Samadhi, these Panchakleshas are reduced. So, avidya is reduced. Then, avidya mulakatvat asmitadinam kleshanam vidyayascha avidyocheda rupatvad vidyodaye cha avidya klesha uba klesham uchcheddo virodhitvad karanat vinashacha iti. And therefore, because of the Samprajñat Samadhi, there is a vidya, there is a jnana vritti, destroys the avidya, the ignorance vritti, and the subsequent conditions of the avidya, asmita, ragadvesha, abhinivesha, they are destroyed. कर्म बंधनानि, कर्मशयाः, कर्म संस्काराः, they are weakened, and thereafter shalathayati, even also the karma samskar, they are weakened, and after that nirodham. So it is taken toward the nirodha or the niruddha condition, abhimukham karoti. In this manner, the sampradnyat samadhi ultimately helps us to enter the asampradnyata yoga. So sa samadhi sampradnyata yoga. Now further, the sampradnyata yoga means what? This is also very good definition. Samyak prajnayate dheyam asmin nirodha vishesha rupe yoga iti samprajnato yoga. So here samyak samprajnayate dheyam asmin. So in this sampradnyata yoga, one is extremely, completely, fully aware of the theme. Because sattva guna is at its peak, and therefore there is knowledge through the sattvic vritti, and therefore this is called as the sampradnyat samadhi. Tasmin nirodhe nirodha vishesha rupe yogaha iti sampradnyata yogaha, and therefore the mind is held in this one condition. It's called as sampradnyata yoga. Now this sampradnyata yoga further takes us to the asampradnyata yoga. Now this is through the 4 stages. Which are those 4 stages? First is vitarganugata, vicharanugata, anandanugata, aspitanugata. So what is the meaning of vitarganugata? When the mind is able to have clear knowledge about the gross worldly themes, that is called as vitarkanugata sampradnyata samadhi or the yoga. Here the knowledge is sampradnyana, means complete knowledge, exhaustive. Therefore, such yogis, they look at the things and they come to know everything about the object. Vitarkanugata. Second is vicharanugata, wherein the subtle aspect of the object is recognized. And it is because of this, these many yogis are able to know what are the medicinal values of various things. One day, one of the Mahatmas, he told me that, this particular thing, if you eat, just while going on the roadside, he just went and picked up. This people, vruksha, it is growing everywhere, anywhere. So he said, if you take those red and very newly born leaves and eat them, they are very good for health. And so many diseases are taken care of. I said, who told you this? He said, nobody told me, I know it. This condition is only because of this vichara anugata. One gets the knowledge about the subtle aspects of these worldly things, etc. Now third is anandanugata, this sampradnyat samadhi, where the joy is directly experienced in the thought without the object of happiness around. So one is happy for no reason. This we also get many times, isn't it? Many times we are just happy for no reason. No, many times we are just miserable for no reason. Happy for no reason, no. So, in this, the inherent bliss is recognized, anandanugata. And the fourth is aspitanugata. And in this aspitanugata, the buddhi becomes so pure that the difference between the buddhi and the purusha virtually ends. Meaning, even the sattvic aspect of the vritti also is on the verge of eradication, and the sattvic chitta becomes the chaitanya. So this is that border case. Again, remember our sadachar, chittam chitcha vijaniyat takara rahitam yada. So the chitta has become so pure that there is even no trace of sattva guna also left. and therefore the buddhi and the chaitanya, the purusha, they become ekakarata, they become one. And this experience is called as aspita anugata samprajñata samadhi. And then this itself will be explained in more detail subsequently. This is how संप्रज्ञात योग इत्याख्याते सच वितर्कानुगतो विचारानुगत आनंदानुगत अस्मितानुगत इति उपरिष्टात् प्रवदिष्यामः प्रवेदयिष्यामः. I shall explain you later when the topic comes. So सर्ववृत्ति निरोधे तु असंप्रज्ञातः समाधि. And last, when all the thoughts are completely eradicated, then the chitta has entered the niruddha bhumi. And after having entered the niruddha bhumi, therefore, even the sattvic vritti which is present in the samprajñat samadhi, that is also not there. And that is why it is said here that sarva vritti nirodhat nirodhakam samadhi asamprajñat. And therefore this is called a asamprajñat samadhi. And is in this samadhi, the yogi cannot have the knowledge of objective understanding, because objective understanding is possible only through the agency of thoughts at the level of the mind. When that is gone, therefore asamprajñat. Here both the abhideya and abhidhaya is all one. There is no separateness remaining. There is only the experience of homogeneity in existence, and this is what is called as the kaivalya. Therefore this ultimately becomes the kaivalya prapti. And in this manner, this first sutra tells us atha yoga anushasanam, wherein this is the science, these are the details. Now we have to follow them systematically, subsequently, slowly, then alone we will be able to go step by step. So this first sutra tells us, now we have to focus our attention where we are, whether kshipta or moodha or vikshipta or ekagra or niruddha. And when we come, for example, in the ekagra chitta, then that is our abhyas, now samadhi abhyas. Therefore, when you are, let us say, chanting the Lord's name, now practice this. And this chitta ekagrata is practiced in yoga abhyas by the trataka. What is the name of trataka? They fix maybe a lamp, jyoti, a flame in front of their eyes, and they just keep on looking. The mind is not allowed to go anywhere. Only one. Or you keep the tongue in your mouth, hanging in between. Don't allow it to land on the floor, and don't touch it anywhere inside the mouth. When you keep the tongue in this way, immediately chitta becomes shanta. Another way is when you touch these two fingers, the index fingers or the thumbs, and focus attention that these two nails are touching each other. Immediately the chitta becomes ekagra. So the same thing is achieved in this khechari mudra. So all these are the various techniques by which we train our mind to attain the chitta ekagram. And when the chitta becomes ekagra, then alone we are able to slowly remove the impurities. So which are those impurities? That ekagre chetasi sadbhutamartha pratyodeti khinoti kleshan karmavandan flateti nirodha abhivugam karoti sa samprajñata yoga ityakhyate. Therefore, This has to be practiced longer and longer period, and that will purify our mind. Now, after having told this, तस्य लक्षणाभिदित्सेयम idam sutra pravavrutte. Now this yoga which was told in the last, which was the yoga told? Sampradnyata yoga and the asampradnyata yoga. So to explain lakshana abhiditsaya idam sutram pravavrutte, for explaining the lakshana. What is the lakshana of the sampradnyata yoga and asampradnyata yoga? The next sutra begins. Now see, what was the first sutra? Yogaha atha yoga anushasanam. Now what is the meaning of yoga? This is explained in this thing. Like that, from the first sutra, the next sutra is born. So now the second sutra, yogaschitta vritti nirodha. Now, sarva shabda agrhanat sampradnyatopi yogaha ityakhyayate. Now here, one important word is discovered by Bhagavan Vedavyasa. He said, this sutra is not telling sarva yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Yogaha only chitta vritti, not all the thoughts, all the vrittis. Sarva shabda agrhanat. And because all the thoughts are not said, therefore, sampradnyataha api yogaha ityakhyayate. And therefore, sampradnyat samadhi also can be called as the yoga along with the asampradnyat samadhi. Otherwise, Patanjali Maharshi would have said, yogaschitta vritti nirodha, then he would have added the word sarva, all the thoughts. Because in the sampradnyat samadhi, the sattvic vritti is still there. It is not totally suspended. And therefore, now chittam hi prakhya pravrutti sthiti shilatvat trigunam. Now, Bhagavan gives explanation in a very beautiful manner. This chitta is, what is that? Prakhya pravrutti sthiti shilatvat trigunam. Chitta has got the three aspects. One is prakhya, meaning illumination or the prakashakam or the light or the knowledge. Second is pravrutti, is the dynamism or activity. And the third is sthiti shilatvat. Sthiti means absence of all the changes, either knowledge or the activity. Therefore, nidravat. So, the chitta has got these three aspects. Because of this, the chitta is trigunatmakam. Because chitta is nothing but the modification of the prakriti, and the prakriti is trigunatmika. Therefore, chittam hi prakhya pravrutti sthiti shilatvat trigunam. Here also this whole explanation given is so beautiful. Now, prakhya rupam hi chitta sattvam rajastamobhyam sansprushtam aishwarya vishaya priyam bhavati. Now this chitta, which is predominantly of the nature of knowledge, when this sattvic chitta sattvam rajastamobhyam sansprushtam, when it is overpowered by or coming in contact with the rajoguna and tamoguna. What is the meaning of coming in contact with rajoguna and tamoguna? Means when the chitta is initiated into desire and activity and lethargy, etc., then this chitta becomes attached to the Aishwarya Vishayam Priyam Bhavati. So, that chitta is now interested in prosperity, having this and that. And in this manner, the chitta which was earlier calm and quiet, basically sattvic, essentially Chaitanya Swarupa, this chitta, because of the sattvic vritti, it has become chitta. And the sattvic vritti gets influenced by the rajastamas, it has become Aishwarya Vishaya Priyam Bhavati. He is so much interested in the prosperity, glory, name and fame and indulgence and accumulation. And this is how the chitta is as if modified. Now the same chitta, tadeva tamasa anuviddham, and when the chitta is extremely influenced by the tamo guna, then what happens? Tamasa anuviddham adharma, ajnana, avairagya, anaishwarya, yoho upagam bhavati. Ya upagam bhavati. When the same chitta is under the influence of the tamo guna, then adharma, ajnana, avairagya, anaishwarya, then the chitta is getting into the wrong channel. So there is adharmam dharma iti yamanyate tamasavrita. See, Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter tells us. After studying this Yoga Shastra, you will see that Bhagwan Sri Krishna has used these everywhere, so many places. Similarly, as we are reading Bhagwan Shankara's commentary, there also he has used this yogic terminology every now and then. Therefore, without the study of these Yoga Sutras, when we study Bhagavad Gita, we take out only some portion which is convenient to us, but we do not accept the whole philosophy in its totality. Then we say, no, yoga abhyas is not for us, we are only devotees of the Lord. So we simply, ananya chintayanto mam ye jana paripasate, we only remember the Lord. But to remember the Lord, that chitta should be available to you. See? It is something like, you may want that your child should become good, but he should listen to you first, then only he can become good. Our condition is worse than that. You know how miserable our parents become when we don't listen to them. The child is told, come on beta, get up early in the morning. No, mommy, you get up. Now that mother and father feel so disgusted, what to do with this child? Now our condition is worse than the mother and father. We want to get up in the morning and yet you go on tossing, I don't know what happened that time, again, then regret, whole day regrets. We want to study something, but the mind doesn't cooperate. We feel disgusted. I don't know why I am not able to focus. And therefore, unless we attain full control over our mind, even devotion is not possible. Therefore, in the 8th chapter, it was always said by Bhagavan that Niruddha Yoga Sevaya, that mind alone can also practice devotion, not otherwise. Therefore, Tadeva Chittam Tamasa Anuviddham Adharma Ajnana Avairagya Anaishwarya Yoho Pagam Bhavati. Then it becomes oriented toward these negativities of life, which is adharma, ajnana, going the wrong way, not interested in anything else except the worldly things, avairagya, all the time extremely involved in the indulgence, no dispassion, anaishwarya, and there is no botheration about the dignified existence, doesn't matter, anything is okay. In this manner the chitta becomes. Now tadeva prakshida muhavaranam sarvataha pradyotamanam anuviddham rajo matraya dharma jnana vairagya aishwaryopagam bhavati. Now the same chitta, when it is now no more under the influence of the tamo guna, but tadeva prakshida muhavaranam, but now the moha avaranam is become prakshina, it has become weakened because of this abhyasa or the study or understanding or chanting the Lord's name or self-discipline, whatever way, when the tamoguna is no more influencing our mind, tadeva prakshina muhavaranam sarvataha pradyotamanam anuviddham, and therefore it becomes as if full of knowledge and anuviddham, and it is no more disturbed, influenced by rajo matraya, by anything else, and only by the rajoguna. Now the chitta is prompted into dharma, jnana, vairagya, aishwarya. When the chitta is under the influence of this rajoguna, Along with the sattva guna, it starts leading a decent life of dharma, jnana, vairagya, etc. Now, tadeva, continuing further, tadeva rajo lesha malapetam swarupa pratishtitam sattva purusha anyata khyati matram dharma megas dhyana yogopam bhavati. And the same chitta now, even the rajoguna is slowly given up. So there is no more the disease of goody. There is no more worry, concern about being good, what the people will say. But now the attention is only on the purity of the mind at the cost of everything in this world. And when such a chitta sarupa pratishtitam sattva purusha anyata khyati matram, in such a chitta has attained this viveka khyati, has become totally clear, and like the purusha is able to observe. Now the mind is undisturbed, the purusha has separated himself from this chitta, and this is called as the dharma megha samadhi, because shuddho dharmo vivardhate. Now tatparam prasankhyanam ityachakshate dhyayinaha. Now this condition of the chitta where the purusha is no more influenced by the sattva guni chitta, and the chitta is now totally undisturbed, and the purusha is not getting influenced by this chitta, this condition is called as prasankhyanam ityachakshate dhyayinaha. Now, chiti shakti hi aparinamini aprati sankrama darshita vishaya shuddha cha ananta cha. Now, chiti shakti or the purusha or the atma, these are all the same thing. See, the chiti shakti is a feminine noun for the same reality. Purusha or the Atma is the same noun masculine for the same reality. And Kshetrajna, like Kshetrajna Sanyogat, or the Brahma. Brahma is the neuter noun for the same reality. In this manner, this Chiti Shakti aparinamini, this consciousness is never modifying, it is ever the same. Then Ati Sankrama Darshita Vishaya, and therefore not any more influenced by the Darshita Vishaya which are eliminated by this consciousness, the Purusha, and therefore Shuddhacha Anantacha. So this consciousness, the Purusha, is immaculate, pure, uninfluenced by what is illumined by it in the form of the Sattvic Chitta. So Sattva Gunatmika cha iyam ataha viparita viveka khyatiriti, and therefore in this condition the chitta is sattva gunatmaka, extremely immaculate, no trace of the rajas and tamas, and therefore the understanding between that the purusha and the chitta prakriti are totally different, it is clearly experienced. Ataha tasyam viraktam chittam tamapi khyati nirunadhi. And then this chitta, viraktam chitta, now it has become totally dispassionate, and therefore tamapi khyati nirunadhati, then even that knowledge is also discarded. And as a result, tadavastham chittam samskaropagam bhavati, and then that chitta is only having only the samskara and nothing else, but no influence of the samskara. Sa nirbija samadhi, and therefore even when the samskaras are burnt away, it becomes the nirbija samadhi. Na tatra kinchit sampradnyayati iti asampradnyataha, and therefore under this condition, when even the samskaras are burnt away, this is called as nirbija samadhi, and na tatra kinchit sampradnyayate, there is no knowledge of any kind there, and this is called as therefore asampradnya samadhi. So dvividha sa yogaha chitta vritti nirodha iti, and in this manner this yoga is of two types. Chitta vritti nirodha, one is sampradnyata yoga and second is the asampradnyata yoga. And in both the cases, it is only the Chitta Vritti Nirodha that is being taken into consideration as the main Lakshana of this yoga. Now after that, what is that which can be called as yoga? Which samadhi? This we have seen, taking that a little bit, and then we will come to the next sutra in our next class. That we will see next time. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.